Joining me, making his first appearance of the new season here on SportsCenter with Jay Onrait, one of our favorites, the incomparable Craig Button. First of all, Craig, you look amazing. How was your summer?
Summer's been absolutely amazing. My wife works for the Canadian Olympic Committee. She was in Paris for 31 days, and she was talking about how busy she was going to be. You know what I got a lot of pictures of? Her dining out. On French cuisine.
Yeah.
She said it was fabulous. And I wish I could have gone, but I wasn't there to work. She was.
Yeah, eating a lot of croissants, but boy, the Canadians did great. It was an awesome Olympic Games. And it's been a great summer for Leon Draisaitl, Craig. And if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, you have to be very happy about that. You had him on an 8-year deal that was very team-friendly before. This one's a little more player-friendly, but at the same time, if you're the Oilers and you're Stan Bowman, you have to be happy about signing this kid for 8 years, aren't you?
Absolutely, Jay. And you talk about oil country. And there was a lot of talk about, okay, what's going to happen with Leon Draisaitl, and then that eventually leads into what happens with Connor McDavid. Leon Draisaitl is one of the best 5 players on the planet. And certainly you look at it with respect to the dollar value he's getting. I think it's a win for the team at $14 million AAV. I don't see that as something that's not workable for the team. Obviously, for Leon Draisaitl, is one of the best players on the planet. That's significant. But here's why I think it's so fantastic for both team and player. Leon Draisaitl doesn't need anybody to help him be better. In fact, he makes everybody around him better. So immediately there's value in the contract because you're not looking at trying to get somebody to help him get value out of that contract. And when you think about $14 million AAV, the salary cap's going up, and it's going to go up really significantly. So as this contract ages, the percentage is going to go way down, and Leon Draisaitl's performance will not. I'm not a gerontology expert, and people will say, oh, he'll be 38 or nearing 38 when this contract ends. I think he'll be very similar to Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby is 37. When his contract is over next summer and he's just shy of 38, we see what a great performing player Sidney Crosby is. I think it'll be absolutely the same for Leon Draisaitl. And so when you think about win-win, it's an absolute win-win for everybody because we know what he means to the Edmonton Oilers, and to find players like this, it's simply impossible. Stan Bowman and the Oilers have a player locked up for the next 9 years, and that's fantastic for the fans.
And the other thing that is hopefully fantastic if you're an Oiler fan is the likelihood that this contract might lead to another long-term extension for Draisaitl's buddy Connor McDavid next summer. Is there any reason in your mind to believe, Craig, that the likelihood of McDavid signing next summer just increases knowing that Draisaitl's decided to commit long-term as well?
Yeah, I guess I can play the speculation game. I'll use Leon Draisaitl's own comments. And he talked about, I have to do what's best for me. I hope that Connor will stay here. Listen, they're great friends. They're great teammates. And the two of them are a duo that NHL teams don't have. And certainly when I look at Connor McDavid's pending contract situation coming up next summer, I really don't believe that Leon Draisaitl would have signed for 8 years if he didn't have a real confidence that Connor McDavid is in a similar mindset. And now you start to think about the Edmonton Oilers, and you start to think about Leon Draisaitl at 14. I'm not going to put a dollar figure on Connor McDavid. I will say this. When he does sign his extension, he'll be the highest paid player in the league. And will that be $16 million? Will it be $17 million? I believe when the contract for Connor McDavid, his new contract begins in the 2026 season, the salary cap will be $100 million or more. So if you got $14 million for Leon Draisaitl, $16 or $17 million for Connor McDavid, that's $30 or $31 million. If management cannot build a team around those two great players with $69 or $70 million, then they should just get out of the hockey business. Because when you have these two great players that make everybody around them better, make the team better, I think that it becomes really easy. Because the hard thing is trying to find players like this. The Edmonton Oilers have them. I also think, Jay, it speaks greatly to what it means to build a really good team and give your team a chance to win. The Edmonton Oilers in the previous 3 playoff seasons, this year included, lost to the eventual Stanley Cup champion. The Oilers are close. They want to break through and win. It's one thing to think you're close. They know they're close. Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid gives them every belief that they can win a Stanley Cup or 2 or 3, maybe even 4.
Craig, can I just finish off by asking you about this roller coaster ride that has been the Edmonton Oilers offseason? I mean, Jeff Jackson does the incredible job around free agency and brings the band back together, only to leave a couple of young players without contracts, and Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway, who inexplicably get offer sheeted by St. Louis, and the Oilers seem to clear the cap space to actually match that offer sheet, only to not match that offer sheet at all and give themselves the flexibility for the season. And now they signed Draisaitl. It's been like a real roller coaster ride. Plus, they get Stan Bowman in the mix as the new GM. What's your overall thoughts of the offseason for this team coming off a loss in Game 7 in the Stanley Cup final?
Well, what I would say is that, I mean, the run of last year was a roller coaster. The start of the year, and then where they found themselves, they replaced the coach, bring in Chris Knobloch, they go right to Game 7. That, to me, was a little bit of a roller coaster. I don't think this summer was a roller coaster, Jay. I think that when you look, they brought back Henrique, they signed Skinner, they signed Arvidsson. They're able to add players to their top 6. Keep in mind, Evander Kane was significantly injured during the playoffs, so he wasn't able to help. He comes back healthy. Are the Oilers in a position right now, ideally, where they want to be going in post-trade deadline? No. But we know that they're going to be able to make some moves. Stan Bowman talked about having some flexibility. And yeah, it hurts to lose a couple of young players like Holloway and Broberg. But there's also going to be new opportunity for the Edmonton Oilers. I know this. When you have 97 and 29 on your team and you're trying to convince players to either come or you're going to add players, they're going to be excited about a chance to compete for the Stanley Cup, that's the high. And that's exactly what the Edmonton Oilers want to be on, a high. They're a Stanley Cup contender, there's no doubt about it. Will there be work to be done? Yes, but this is a really top-notch team in the National Hockey League.